Guys, welcome to Infinity Watchtower, where we talk about the latest in trending and superhero news. This week, we're going to be talking about Black Widow, Birds of Prey, Avengers 4, Joaquin Phoenix Joker, Dark Phoenix, and Johnny's Pull List. Guys, I am your host, Joe. Alongside me, as always, Jezzer Reyes and Johnny Parker the second. What up, Johnny Parker the second?
Yo, Joe, how you doing?
I'm great, guys. We're going to be talking about some of our favorite superhero news. But before we get into all of that, if you want to interact live with us, check us out right there on the chat. We have the super chat feature. That helps keep your comment to the top so we don't slide over them. But it also helps support the show so we get cool equipment and cool little sidebars like that so you know exactly what we're talking about. Now, we're also going to be kind of talking about stuff that's going on or some comic TV shows that you might be excited about.
Yeah.
Because there's a few coming back. One already came back this week, was Gifted.
The Gifted, yeah.
You're a big fan of Gifted, is that right? The Gifted?
Yeah. I like it a lot. I like it better than the X-Men movies, actually.
Do you really?
It's not
Bold statement.
Yeah.
But one quick thing I do want to say, and this is a little off topic, but if you're not registered to vote, go and vote, because your vote actually does matter. There's a lot going on right now in the world, so go and do that. That was my public service announcement from #show.
Gotta go vote.
Go vote and just do some research into your candidates, whatever your preference is, but do some research. Do a little bit of research, just like we do on this show. All right, before we get into it, Johnny, I gotta ask you and pick your brain a little bit. With everything that's happening in the comic books world right now, what movie are you most looking forward to? Currently, right now, we have Venom. We got Aquaman. There's also Captain Marvel. Dark Phoenix just made its debut. What are you looking forward to?
No. Out of everything, I'd have to be honest, like, it's actually the option you didn't put on there. Into the Spider-Verse.
Okay, great.
Miles Morales movie in December. I'm really looking forward to that. But I gotta be honest though, the more and more I hear about Aquaman, the more I get more and more sold on it. Like, I saw like a little interview somebody did with James Wan, and they were like talking about like everything he was trying to do with the movie and everything like that. And I was like, son of a dog. Like this, like
Son of a dog.
this is Fast and Furious directors like selling me right now, because I'm like, if he could sell me Vin Diesel and The Rock driving cars through Dubai, and I'm like, you know what, he might be able to pull off an Aquaman movie.
That's an easy sell though.
Did you? I like how your sell for James Wan's action is just driving cars in Dubai. Like that's your sell for action.
Driving
cars in Dubai.
From one building
into another building in Dubai.
I like it. Now, and we talked earlier about TV shows. The Gifted is obviously coming back. We know that Daredevil season 3 is going to be hitting a return. We got The Flash, Legends of Tomorrow, and here's a big news story: is that we now have confirmation on what the Arrowverse crossover is going to be called. It's going to be called Elseworld. Ooh. Does that intrigue you a little bit more into that crossover?
A little bit. I'm more interested in the Titans show, even though you guys aren't excited about it. I'm kind of excited about it.
About what?
Titans?
No,
Yeah.
I heard some stuff about that today.
Oh man, dang it.
But yeah, that's another. I guess we could talk about it actually. Yeah. We'll talk about it on this episode. A little side chat.
But that Elsewhere sounds dope.
Yeah, so this is going to be our first television appearance in the Arrowverse of Lois Lane and snap. Batwoman, Ruby Rose.
So will this be the Batwoman who's getting her own spinoff and everything like that?
Correct.
So they'll be using this as kind of like a soft pilot type deal?
Yeah.
Seems like it.
Kind of like they did with the Flash on Arrow.
So that may raise an interesting question. So, interesting. So, like, she probably won't be from the third dimension then. She'll be from another dimension potentially.
I think it gives them more freedom to do different stuff.
She could be from the Supergirl dimension. It's a possibility.
That's true.
That's a part of that crossover.
Yeah, especially if Lois Lane is in there. Maybe she'll be in that same world.
Exactly. It's kind of weird though. Like it looks like they want to keep the Arrowverse, and they want to keep Supergirl and like the Bat Family in their own type.
It's just so they're not tied down to too much of the continuity going on on one Earth.
I guess so. It makes sense. Like honestly, for the Superman universe, it makes sense because of Superman. Like if there's any problem happening, like in like the Arrow City or Star City or like Central City, is like he could always like just fly in. So it kind of makes sense. But the Bat Family, that's a little bit interesting.
Well, we already know that Bruce Wayne is in the Arrowverse too, like a version.
There's a mention of him.
Yeah, there's a mention of him a few times. So we just don't know if he's Batman in that world.
Let me ask you, what would you rather see? Would you rather see the Batwoman be part of the Arrowverse or be part of Supergirl's verse?
Actually, Arrowverse.
I'm gonna say Supergirl's universe. Yeah.
Interesting. Okay.
I'd say Arrowverse. Yeah.
How come?
I don't know. The Supergirl universe is kind of corny, and the characters.
Yeah, because the Arrow universe is right on par with.
They're a little bit more grounded. Like some of the characters on.
Damien Dark a little bit more grounded. What are you talking about right now?
Compared to the stuff
a little bit more grounded. The Flash, a little bit more grounded. Cisco Ramon,
they're meta humans.
a little bit more grounded.
Meta-humans.
What is it? Ralph Dibny, the elongated man. Did you just say a little bit more grounded?
I'm just getting tired of all the
Gorilla Grodd.
I'm just getting tired of all the Kryptonians in the whole Supergirl universe. Like you're technically supposed to be one of the last Kryptonians in the world, but no, Kryptonians just keep coming at you.
I mean, low-key, that's how the comics are.
Yeah.
He's like, I'm so alone, but there's like 50 people right
Yeah,
there.
there's like a ton of Kryptonians coming.
Exactly.
Like,
I think that the Arrowverse crossover, potentially on paper, can be the best. Will it live up to expectation?
Wait, but why do you say Supergirl more?
I think Supergirl. I think that world needs another hero besides Kara, and I also think that it just makes more sense. And it might maybe down the future might be easier to do a World's Finest with either Batwoman and Supergirl standalone, or possibly Superman and Batman. So I think it might make a little bit more sense in that direction. I do hope that there's a Crisis on Infinite Earths in the TV universes, and so they can cancel out Gotham altogether and just kind of keep everything else going.
No more Gotham. It's a dream come true.
It would be a dream come true.
But I agree with you though. Like Jezzer, I see where you're coming from with the whole Arrowverse thing. But I agree with Joe because that Supergirl verse is like kind of lonely. And for her to be the only superhero like running around there, she does need like somebody else. She needs some company.
Martian Manhunter, and you got the Guardian, and you have
Yeah, the Guardian's a superhero.
Yeah.
No.
The rip-off
That's
Captain
what
America.
I do hate. I do hate that Jimmy Olsen is like such a hunky dude. Jimmy Olsen's never really that guy.
No, he's definitely not.
No.
Let's move on to our first topic this week. It's going to be a hot button issue, kind of. It's the Black Widow movie details. Now, this is supposed to a little bit. This could be a possible spoiler alert. So if you don't want to know about this, too bad. Actually, if you don't want to know, hit the mute button and you'll see the ticker move over. But let's talk about this a little bit and let's dive into the Black World universe or Marvel Cinematic Universe, if you will. First question I have, Jezzer, number one. There's a chance that this story is going to revolve around the Y2K bug. Now, my question is, that might be a huge plot point to the movie. However, do we need a Black Widow movie at this point?
I don't think we need a Black Widow movie. I think we should just continue on from the Infinity War storylines. I think we move on with new characters. I think if we dwell too much on like characters we've had for like the last 8 years, it's gonna just hold us back a little bit. There's a ton of like characters in the Marvel universe that we still haven't expanded on.
Well, let me ask you a question though. You say that you mean in timeline, or do you mean just in terms of like the movie? You don't want it. You want to progress in timeline, or just not revisiting a character that we've seen so much from?
A little bit of both. I want them to start doing the movie, continuing the timeline after.
With that being said, then, are you looking forward to Captain Marvel because that takes place in the 1990s?
The only reason I'm looking forward to Captain Marvel is learning the backstories of the other characters that we've seen in like Guardians of the Galaxy, and a little bit more on Nick Fury and Agent Coulson, and like stuff that happened and what's leading up to Captain Marvel going to be in Avengers 4.
Johnny, how familiar are you with this story, and is the Y2K bug going to be a prominent kind of storyline driven thing that you think is going to be worth watching for this movie?
Oh my gosh, Y2K bug.
I mean, because I almost feel like this Y2K thing, it almost feels kind of like the MacGuffin that was in Mission Impossible 6.
Low key though, it does, and not only that, though, but it feels kind of ridiculous. I still remember like Y2K, people buying all that toilet paper and everything like that. It was like, oh god, the world's going to end. Like our clock's going to reset. It's going to be terrible.
But what if with this story, the reason why it didn't is whatever Black Widow and
did or something like that.
Yeah,
I mean, it'd be
something on that end.
It feels ridiculous, but at the same time, though, I mean, am I really going to question Marvel? It's like trust the process. They've been doing good thus far, so if they have a plan for it,
but not perfect.
True, not perfect.
Not perfect.
But I'm willing to give them the benefit of the doubt. But I will say this though, like I do want to see a Black Widow movie. The thing about this was that like all the other Avengers have pretty much got their chance like to shine and whatnot from the main like stage, except for Hawkeye. But Black Widow though, she had the Hulk
has
had
a
movies.
I mean, I feel like that Edward Norton one wasn't really connected.
But he had one though.
But Tony Stark's in it.
Tony Stark's in it.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, but
Yeah,
I feel
and
like
General Ross is in it.
And General Ross is in it.
I just feel like it wasn't.
But I mean,
the
but
Marvel
it
universe.
was
like it was kind of like retconned in.
Was it though?
Well,
I mean, he shows up at the end, and then General Ross shows up.
I
and
feel
other
like
stuff.
when they were making it, they weren't like their intention wasn't to connect in. Then all the Tony Stark thing was like reshoots.
I don't know. I think they might have had that intention, but I think like they're like this could be a cool possibility, especially if like Iron Man takes off. But I think that Edward Norton's like ego and how much controlling he was and stuff like that made them turn it off a little bit from the whole process. Because again, he wanted like last cuts and like all these other things. So I think he's like his like power hungry mindset kind of like maybe ruined things for Kevin Feige. Plus, Kevin Feige was just like getting used to the role right there, so he probably wasn't used to like telling a big Hollywood star like, no, we're not going to do it your way. Whereas now he's like, no, I'll follow a director right now.
Yeah.
But again,
He was doing that earlier on too.
Was he?
Yeah, he was making power plays like that. Why do you think Edward Norton wasn't in the Avengers?
Oh yeah, but I'm saying during the shooting of the movie, like afterwards, he probably learned. But yeah, but going with Black Widow though, like I think she definitely needs her own movie because here's the thing, she has a rich storyline. Like this Y2K bug, I mean, it doesn't sound like the richest thing, but you gotta remember though, she started off as a villain, then became a hero. So if you start with her again as an enemy of Shield, who's like attacking, doing all this kind of stuff, and you show her transition from villain to hero, you've got a rich storyline to play with.
So I want to know from you guys in the chat: are you on Team Jezzer, where he doesn't think a Black Widow movie might be the best way to go for Marvel, or are you going to be on Team Johnny, where you're all about the next Black Widow story? Now, I do have a theory here a little bit. I think the reason why they're making a Black Widow movie is almost like a red herring, letting you think that she's going to be alive for after Avengers 4, and I don't think she will. And here's my theory, and I may have said it before, is that I actually think she's going to sacrifice herself for Hawkeye in the film, and that's the way she wipes red away from her ledger. And as I also think that we're going to see Marvel characters that were in the 90s around that time frame pop up. You probably see a younger Nick Fury, Agent Coulson, possibly, obviously Winter Soldier because he was active around that time. So I think you're going to start seeing a lot more of those stories. But I definitely think that it's definitely going to be kind of like somewhat of a, not a MacGuffin, but kind of like a thing where it's like, oh, well, Black Widow's safe because she's getting her own movie, where I don't think that's the case. Now, let's go to some of you guys in the chat. Tom Craven says, 4 years ago, we needed a Black Widow movie. A Black Widow movie was a good idea. Nowadays, a Black Widow movie is so ancillary that the Marvel is backpedaling. Blackwing says, yo, Johnny, what if they made a Ladies Liberty movie or an A-Force movie? Blackwing, that's nothing to do with Black Widow, but what if they did?
Honestly, A-Force would be dope. A-Force was a sick book. I love like the whole female like Avengers team, whether you got a Lady Loki, you got America on there. So I think honestly if they did like an A-Force movie, it'd be awesome. I'd be all on board for it.
We already know the Marvel was in talks with making an all-female Avengers movie when Tessa Thompson's really been championing that, along with other female stars in the Marvel Cinematic Universe. Now, Blackwing says he's right in the middle on this one, so he doesn't know. But Toku says Team Jezzer don't need it to focus on new characters.
Why Toku? Why?
Yeah, they don't need.
I mean, like leading up to this, we've got a lot of like these type of movies. They're not Black Widow movies, but was that one with Jennifer Lawrence? We had that Salt movie. They feel like Black Widow movies.
I guess you also had the Charlize Theron movie that came out.
Atomic Blonde. Yeah, and then was that new one with Jennifer Garner?
Yeah, Jennifer Garner.
Yeah, and then there was also what you call Scarlett Johansson's own movie.
Peppermint.
Scarlett Johansson's own movie where she gets the drugs inserted to her, everything like that.
Yeah.
Lucy. The thing about it is that like I do agree with Matt in the chat. Like the thing about it is that we should have had a Black Widow movie like 4 years ago.
But wait, you agree with who in the chat now?
I think it was it Matt who said that?
No.
Oh, yeah, Tom
Craven, my bad, Tom Craven, who said that we should have Black Widow 4 years ago. Like, we should have. Like, I don't see, it's weird, and Marvel's kind of dropping the ball, because I give them credit. They're making great films, but they're being a little bit late to the game. Like, DC shouldn't have beat them with Wonder Woman. They should have had a female-driven, like, superhero movie, like, way before them.
Yeah.
Another thing, too, is I think Avengers 2, as much as people were, like, lukewarm to it, I think it plays such an important part in going forward in the Marvel Cinematic Universe.
For Black Widow?
For everybody.
Okay.
So I think that every vision that you saw was a foreshadowing of every future that's going to happen in Marvel. I think Steve Rogers will end up in World War II era, and he's going to end up staying there, and he's going to get his dance with Peggy. I think what you saw with Ragnarok being destroyed is pretty much what happened. What you saw with the Avengers pretty much getting defeated, and the Chitauri kind of taking over with Stark, that kind of happens. Except Chitauri don't take over, but the Avengers were defeated by Thanos. What you see with Black Widow's flashback is obviously what is probably going to happen in her movie.
Yeah.
And the one that you don't see is Hawkeye. So I have a feeling in Avengers 4, it's going to start off, Hawkeye loses his family to the dust, and he becomes just a crazy vigilante. Ronin, which we got leaks on, and more on that later. But we're going to move on to our next topic. Moving over to the DC Comics world, we're going to be talking about none other than Birds of Prey. Now, we got Black Canary and the Huntress cast. Jezzer, you wrote the article.
Yeah.
Chat me up about what you think about the casting and who these young ladies are.
I think the casting is great. I don't know there's how many different Black Canaries are there? There's there's Laura Lance or Dinah Lance, and then Dinah Drake.
Yeah. Like in the comics, there's like two. There's like official. There's her and there's her mom. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm interested in seeing who else they cast. They said there's one more character, Montoya.
Yes,
Renee Montoya.
Yeah.
who later becomes the Question.
Yeah.
So Jezzer with the what?
You really love that Renee Montoya question, Ron.
Well, I like the other Question too. The
original one.
Yeah, the original one.
Why did you like Renee Montoya's run so much?
I think that I liked it because 52 was so good, and I think that they really fleshed out her character a lot in 52, and I like that she picked up the mantle from the original one, and he kind of was like not training her per se, but definitely following along the lines of like being the conspiracy theorist. And I also think it's an interesting character, especially a hard-edged cop, to become like a conspiracy theorist. I think it was a pretty cool transition that
Who
they
sees
did.
the holes in the system and everything
Right.
like that.
I thought that was a pretty cool transition.
I will say this though, I kind of feel like DC kind of dropped the ball because after with Steve Ditko and everything like that, it's like again like I feel like they should be using her more, especially like everything's been going whatnot. She should be around more. We should really be pushing this character.
Yeah. So they cast Journey Bell as Black Canary and Mary Elizabeth Winstead, who was in that last Cloverfield movie as the Huntress. Yeah. Journey. Do you remember? This is way when she was a kid. She was on Full House actually.
She was on
Oh
Full
yeah,
House.
she was on Full
Yeah,
House.
she was Michelle's best friend, and then she was in a few.
Wait, Michelle.
Yeah.
Okay, sorry. I was thinking about Stephanie's best friend, like the one who's like kind of a jerk to her and everything like that. Was the villain at first, but
Yeah.
Wait, she
Michelle's
wasn't on
best friend.
Friday Night Lights, right?
Was she?
Oh yeah. She was
She was on-
Jess.
she was Jess on Friday Night Lights,
yeah,
right?
she was Michael B. Jordan's girlfriend on
Yeah.
Friday Night
Oh,
Lights.
for real?
Yeah.
Yeah. I was like, yeah.
She was on
Jess,
Friday Night
yeah.
Lights.
And she was, I mean, the most recent movie she was in, I think it might have been like a Tyler Perry movie or something.
Well, I'm excited for this movie that it's even happening. We already know that Margot Robbie is going to be one of the producers on the film, and already off to a great start. I think that DC at this point now really is going to need to get. Honestly, DC personally, I feel has stronger female characters than Marvel does.
Definitely.
Just in the lexicon of characters, and that's easily kind of shown with Wonder Woman. And unfortunately, with Captain Marvel, I think so many comparisons, even though they're two completely different characters, so many comparisons are going to come out of Captain Marvel comparing it to Wonder Woman, which I think is an unfair assessment. But Birds of Prey is, I think, with getting the female audience and being a part of that strong female hero movement, DC's right there at the forefront.
Yeah.
Go ahead, Johnny.
I'm poke the bear a little bit though.
Yeah, go for it.
So how do you feel about Oracle not being a part of this?
You know what? I actually asked that to the writer who actually wrote Transformers, Bumblebee. I asked her about
You're not
that.
selling me on that, but keep going.
Well, I asked her.
Wait, okay, continue.
Well, we'll talk about that. Well, we can kind of talk about that. But I asked her about that, and you saw the interview, right? Where she
Yeah.
pretty much was like, it's not official. DC hasn't made any official announcement of the official roster in Birds of Prey.
Yeah.
So to say that Oracle's not in it, we don't know that yet.
Well, okay.
We just know.
She does play a big part in
No, she's an amazing big part.
Yeah.
She's kind of like the central figure. So let me ask you this though: if Oracle does show up, if Barbara Gordon does show up, do you want her showing up as Batgirl or as Oracle?
Me personally, I think I'd like to see her at this point in the DCEU. I'd like to see her as Oracle.
Okay.
Was
Mainly-
it Oracle with flashbacks, you think?
I think that there should be an Oracle movie, and if they wanted to do a prequel movie, then you could do a Batgirl movie based on that Barbara Gordon.
Well, the Nightwing movie is still in talks, right? So why don't they?
so
why
is
don't
the-
they- why
so
don't
is
they-
the Batman movie with-
Well, I mean, they could do an Oracle backstory in that film. And
Look,
Yeah.
at this point now, DC can do anything because the Joaquin Phoenix Joker movie doesn't seem to fit in anything.
Yeah.
So if that's successful, I don't look for this to be a cohesive universe whatsoever. I'm looking at this more as like, let's just tell good stories. And honestly, right now, that's what DC needs. I think trying to fit everything into the peg of, all right, we have to be a concurrent running cinematic universe, I think is the
having
wrong
one
mistake.
continuity is
Yeah.
just is
Well,
too much.
Well, the problem with it is though, is just that they can't handle the ball. It's like the thing about this is put this like in basketball terms or anything like that. Like Marvel's a point guard. Marvel can distribute and get things like onto the floor and everything like that, get everybody involved. But when it comes to DC, they don't have that skill set. They have an amazing talent of roster of characters to utilize, but like right now, they just need to tell good stories for these characters. If there's an opportunity to kind of bring them all together later on, like try to like weave some things together, like definitely do it. But right now, yeah, they just need to tell good stories. And honestly, I'm hoping Oracle shows up in this movie because
Yeah, me
like
too.
she could be the central figure that brings them all together. Like she could be like looking to get back involved. She sees some things happening. The Bat family's busy, so she just starts reaching out to different heroes.
It would be kind of a cool through line too if she's also like almost kind of like a prominent figure in Nightwing and in the Batman movie as well.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Kind of like just the overseeing like person,
she's
almost like they're
she
Nick
connects
Fury.
all the movies together.
Right.
Exactly, because she could be like DC Universe's like Coulson, but it could be a slow boil.
Yeah.
So you start off in Birds of Prey, then after that she shows up in Nightwing, then all of a sudden, because again, the cool thing about it is, I'm not sure if you know this, Jezzer, she was a member of the Justice League.
And we also had our first casting announcement of people that are up in the running for the
for Black Mask?
Black Mask, which I found interesting, and one of them really jumped out to me. Is
Obi-Wan Kenobi.
Ewan McGregor,
Yeah.
and I think that would be a great casting choice if they
Has
go
he
in that
ever
direction.
played like a villain yet?
Yeah, that's what I was going to mind. Like I like Ian McGregor, like he's a cool guy and everything like that. He's a good Obi-Wan Kenobi, but I was like, that's what I was like, wait, can he be a villain though? Can he be
I
that
think
dark?
he can. I think he definitely can.
Because like
It's within his-
the cool thing about the Black Mask is though he's like this like sick villain who can be very methodical. It's like I'm a criminal, I'm a gangster, or whatnot. But he can get real sick real fast, like real psychotic. So it'd be cool to see if Ian McGregor has that in him.
primarily Black Mask.
Did you just
is,
call him Ian McGregor? Who the fuck is Ian McGregor? Is that Ewan McGregor's brother?
Sure, why not?
All right.
Sure, why not? Mispronunciations.
So what were you saying about
Who primarily Black Mask is? Who's main villain?
Batman?
Batman.
Yeah, and he pops a little bit in Nightwing sometimes. Depending.
Yeah. Well, are you guys excited about you guys watching us? Are you guys excited about the Birds of Prey movie? And which Bird of Prey are you most excited to see on the silver screen? Leave your comment in the chat. Johnny, which Bird of Prey are you most excited to see?
Like which character from there?
Yeah.
Definitely, fingers crossed, Oracle.
Okay.
And there's also the person from what's the name of the group? Was it the Blackbirds?
The Blackhawks.
The Blackhawks, yeah, the Blackhawks. They're she's so bad in the comics. Like she just like gives people those work and everything like that. And I love her storyline, and I hope to see her there too.
Jezzer, you're a big DC fan. Which Bird of Prey are you most excited to see on the big screen?
Huntress. Yeah.
Huntress. Good choice. Good
Why?
choice.
Why, Jezzer?
I think she has an interesting story, interesting backstory with her being involved in the crime families and everything. She could
Jezzer,
definitely
you just like the costume.
no.
Is that
I
why
mean,
you
that's,
wear
we
the
don't even
purple
know. We
hat?
don't even know if that's gonna be the costume for the
You
movie.
might be hoping for it though. Okay, all right, Jezzer, what do you say?
So Blackwing's looking forward to seeing.
Better than the Huntress from the old Birds of Prey TV show.
Was it better
We
than
don't
the
talk about
Huntress?
those things. We don't talk about those things.
What about the
Block
Huntress
that
from
out, no.
Arrow, your favorite show?
Oh no, I didn't like that.
All
Huntress,
right.
no.
Wait, Joe, what about you?
I'm most excited to see Renee Montoya.
Ooh.
But Blackwing's most excited to see Black Canary, so I think that's a good choice. So everybody has their own kind of favorite, which can be pretty cool. And also, Tom Craven agrees with you. Oracle, totally Oracle.
My man.
Let's move on to our next story. Earlier, when we talked about Black Widow, we talked about leaks. We're going to talk about some more leaks that happened here. So Avengers 4 leaks came out. These were released by accident. That's not the leak I'm talking about. But we released by accident from Hot Toys some of these new costumes in Avengers 4.
It's always toys that they mess
That
up.
is, no, these aren't great pictures of it, but that is Iron Man's new suit in Avengers 4. As you can see, it is the same little what's it called? Arc reactor that he has before. This reminds me of almost like, what is it? Which armor is this? Do you think? There's a hero click of this armor too, bleeding. The classic bleeding.
Yeah.
The classic armor. It looks more like
how the whole shoulders are gold now.
Yeah.
Like usually, I don't think we've seen like gold biceps and shoulders.
What's your favorite Iron Man costume?
Oh, snap.
I like the first one, the Mark one. I don't
Oh,
know
really?
why.
The big bulky one?
The big bulky one, yeah.
About you, favorite Iron Man armor in the movies?
Oh, in the movies? Movies?
Suitcase armor?
Oh, that is a cool one too.
Suitcase armor is pretty
That's a
cool and
cool
everything
one.
like that. I will say I did like the last one from the last Avengers movie. Like, it was pretty dope. But if I go comics, though, I love this armor he had during, like, the 90s run.
Okay.
Where it was, like, had the cores and stuff like that coming out. It was, like, very techno savvy.
Are we talking Heroes Reborn?
Yeah, low G. Okay.
Nice.
Low G as well. Also, I think my favorite armor was probably the Iron Man 3 armor. Or no, sorry, the Avengers 2 armor.
Avengers 2
well, which
armor.
was pretty much the Iron Man 3 armors, except reversed
Yeah.
in colors. We do got a super chat. Look at that.
Super chat.
Toku Kid says classic Iron Man and love the Cap scales. We're gonna get to Cap in just a second. Let's see some more. Now that is Ronin. Now I know that it's not a clear look at him, but that's Ronin.
Yeah.
Ronin is, Johnny, chat me up about who Ronin is.
Ronin's been a couple people. So the cool thing about it is during Brian Michael Bendis' New Avengers run, Ronin was originally Echo. It was a Daredevil character who had the reverse powers of Daredevil. So you know how Daredevil was blind, but he can hear all these different things. Well, not Echo is deaf, but she has like this memorization with her eyesight where she can watch anything and like learn the movements and everything like that. So for a while she stepped in as Ronin, but then later on when Hawkeye like kind of came back from the dead and all this kind of stuff, he stepped in as Ronin for a while because he didn't want to be Hawkeye, and people were really pushing him to be Captain America because when Captain America died, so he took on the role as Ronin for a while.
Are you guys looking forward to seeing Ronin in the Marvel Cinematic Universe?
I don't know.
Yeah, because the cool thing about Ronin is that means something bad happened. Because Ronin,
Yeah,
again,
which I said, this is his family probably disappeared,
Yeah.
and he
Exactly.
lost his shit.
yeah. So if he's Ronin, the cool thing about this is though we also get to see a different weapons arsenal, as you see right there with the swords, like the nunchuckos and everything like that. So we get to see like all these different weapons he can possibly use. So it kind of gives Hawkeye more things to play with.
Okay, let's move on. Do we have any more? There's Captain America.
Ooh.
Go ahead, Johnny.
I was thinking, well, so if he goes Ronin, that means we can later on get Kate as Hawkeye as well, because the match was kind of left open. Kate was this girl who like carried on Hawkeye for a while. She was
Kate
a member
Bishop.
Which is a member of the Young Avengers and everything like that.
I talked to Kevin Feige about Kate Bishop.
What did he say?
He said that there's a lot of young heroes in the works, and we're going to start seeing that
Like the-
play out in Avengers 4. And I would be as far to tell you that we're probably Cassie Lang is going to be a little bit older, and I think Cassie Lang is going to be a part of that. And here's this is my theory, just a theory. I think that the Hulkling is going to somehow appear in Captain Marvel. And I think that's going to be two of the Young Avengers right there.
I wouldn't be surprised by this because honestly, as we start talking about this now, just like being speculative. The thing about it is that the cool thing about this is that like we know that after this, as you keep saying, you want to see new heroes, right?
Yeah.
So the cool thing is Marvel can totally go younger, and so if they want to bring in a whole new audience, this leaves the door totally open for a Young Avengers movie.
Yeah.
And so Young Avengers again, the cool thing about it is that storyline is like really solid. It was written by somebody who actually works in Hollywood and everything like that, so you can really translate that easily to the screen. And then the dope thing about this is though, if we kill Hawkeye's family, what's Hawkeye gonna do?
Well, not kill, but like they snap at him.
So let's say they disappear, but let's say they don't come back though.
Guys, I saw Venom. I can't talk about the story. I'll talk about it next week. But the only reason I bring this up is I know a lot of people are looking forward to it.
Okay.
I can't say anything. But
All right,
just,
okay, all right, all right. But it was like so. So as I say, so all right. Can't talk about Venom, but he saw it. All right. So here's the thing: Hawkeye loses his family, right? What's he do? Maybe move to an apartment in Brooklyn.
Yeah.
Maybe starts fighting Russians, so we can get that whole cool like Hawkeye storyline right there. as
Rumor
well.
has it that Hawkeye
He's
is the
hunting
movie
Skrulls.
starts off in the movie as Ronin hunting Skrulls.
Oh shit! Nice.
So let's talk about Captain America's new look. Something that a lot of people are fans of: the chainmail kind of like look, the classic Captain America. What do you guys think about this?
It looks exactly like the Captain America 1 suit, except adding the scales to it.
I like it. We
Yeah.
also got in the super chat.
Ooh.
Toku Kid says maybe we get an Avengers Academy or Young Heroes or just Young Heroes.
That's cool.
So the Avengers Academy was a great run. So Captain America's suit, there a lot of people are fans of that kind of like fish scaly look.
Yeah.
It is, and
It's
also
a very classic look for him.
and also it's kind of telling too. Like
And he's
if
no
it-
beard.
Yeah, and the cool thing about this is there's more of like a return to the basics, because if he's pulling that with the chainmail and everything like that, that means his mentality is changing. And he's going back to like I'm fighting a war type mode.
Yeah.
Which means we're going to see a much serious Captain America in this movie,
And he's sporting the Avengers patch.
which is dope because he's back on the team.
Well, yeah, I mean, you got to assume that all of them are at this
Yeah.
point. They all really like bonded again. Let's move over. Do we have any more of these from the next one's leaks? There's Thor with his
doesn't
with
look-
Stormbreaker. He
Isn't
looks
that
pretty much the same.
suit? I think that's the same suit.
About the same, but it looks cool. That Stormbreaker looks gigantic.
Do you like
does, it
Stormbreaker?
looks
Do you guys like
ridiculous.
Stormbreaker?
I like it better than Mjolnir.
Really?
Yeah.
I actually like Mail No More. I hope he loses that and it goes to Beta Ray Bill.
Oh, that'd be
okay.
cool.
That's cool.
And that's possible.
Oh,
now,
isn't
maybe not.
Isn't he dead?
No.
Beta Ray Bill? No.
Well, we saw his head.
Just because
head
he could be a
statue.
legend.
yeah, because don't forget he's part of an alien race. They could be somebody else.
All right, there's War Machine's new look.
Ooh!
Now,
Ooh!
I'm a huge fan of this. This is I always liked my War Machine when he looks like bulky armor.
Yes.
Right? That to me,
Yes.
like I think that in Iron Man 3 his armor was too sleek and too much like Tony's. So I think here with this new War Machine look, I'm a big fan of this.
Yeah.
Dude, I'm loving this. This is like War Machine. Like, but again, I hate the Iron Patriot with a passion because again, when you see War Machine, this is what you think of, like this dude who has all these different guns and everything like that. He's like a low key Gundam in a way. Like, I'm loving this. Like, this looks sick.
I like the War Machine from Iron Man 2, where he was like bigger and he had all these different guns.
Yeah, I agree because I mean, the look, was pretty cool. Movie not so much, but the look was cool. This look, however,
This is bad.
This is the reason I like this armor though is that it's something completely different than Tony ever wore.
Yep.
And I
Usually he
think-
gets hand-me-downs, right?
Yeah, he gets hand-me-downs, and I think now he has a definitive, different-looking suit. I like the color scheme. I like the red that contrasts with the grays and gunmetals.
Yeah.
And then you know the story could be behind this as well is that like after Rhodey got injured or whatnot, he probably wanted to give him like a more stronger armor just as his regular thing. So
Well,
Fortify it.
He had
fortify
He
it.
had bigger armor in Infinity War. He had like
Slightly bigger, but
the
not
lower
noticeably
extremity-
bigger.
The lower extremities are definitely like
yeah, a little bit
larger.
stronger. Yeah.
But this looks like a war machine. You know
It
what I mean?
does,
And this
it
is, I
does.
think, something that we definitely needed. We got any more of these? Look at that. All right, there's
Ooh.
Captain Marvel and also
Ooh,
Thanos.
Thanos has a new suit too.
Thanos has a different look to him, definitely. And Captain Marvel, who we've all been talking about. It's your trailer dropped not too long ago. Looks like the Captain Marvel suit that we're going to see at the end of Captain Marvel. At least we can assume that's the end of Captain Marvel, where she's going to get the more modern, updated look.
Yeah, it's cool. Like that has a nice look to it and everything like that. It pays homage to the comic. It has a very Captain America type feel.
Yeah.
Like you see, it looks like made by that same material that Shield like always uses. It looks good.
I want to speculate for a second here. I'll go off on a little bit of a tangent. I was just having this talk earlier today. Let's talk about the state of the Marvel Cinematic Universe after Avengers 4. Where do you kind of see it shaping up? Because me personally, I think that Marvel is, and I know we just praised DC for their advancement in placing women at the forefront of their universe. I think in Marvel, we're going to start seeing a very similar change, but not just with women, but with diversity. And what I mean by that is I think that we're going to see Carol at the forefront as their version and their flag bearer of the universe. A younger youth as Spider-Man, and is probably going to be a part of that youth movement. But then also I think Shuri is going to take over as Iron Man, a.k.a. Ironheart, because Shuri and that Riri Williams story I think is going to make sense because she is the smartest person in the MCU, so Kevin Feige explained.
So how many people do you think are exiting in Avengers 4?
I think most of all of them, with the exception of Black Widow, but I think Black Widow's going to get her spin-off, but she will be dead in the current universe.
How many people do you think are going to like die?
Well, hold on. Let me finish my thought here. So then I think you're going to see Tessa Thompson eventually assume the role as Thor. And because you got to think, a lot of people speculated, like, oh, did they kill all the Asgardians? No, even in the beginning of that movie, Thanos says half of you are going to die.
Right.
Half of the Asgardians are going to die.
And we still don't know what happened to her.
We don't know what happened to her. So I think that, and then if we do have Cassie, honestly, how cool would it be if, well, not cool, because I really do like Scott Lang, but what if Cassie Lang ends up becoming the new Ant-Man because Ant-Man sacrifices himself in Infinity War, and because he's always a crook and a criminal, and he does the heroic thing, and what if Cassie Lang gets taught by Hank Pym and Hope?
If Hank Pym makes it out.
If Hank Pym makes it out. I mean, I think we could be looking at a whole new outlook. And let's say, what if Anthony Mackie becomes the new Captain America? Like, we're looking at a completely diverse...
I'm not down with that one.
I like Anthony. I think that the Falcon should be Captain America, not the Winter Soldier. 'Cause
Not the Winter Soldier?
No, I think the Winter Soldier story is done after this.
Really?
Another super chat from Toku Kid. Maybe MCU to split into groups that come together.
Who, Avengers West Coast? 2 different Avenger teams?
There's a lot of at this point now with the Avengers. There's a lot of things you have to serve, because now you have to have the influx with the Fantastic Four and the X-Men. So there's going to be a lot going on. Johnny, speculate for me. Where do you want to see MCU go after Avengers 4?
So after Avengers 4, I want to see them like expand a little bit more. So definitely like you said, bringing like some new heroes and everything like that. So I think Spider-Man's definitely like start playing a bigger role. Captain Marvel will definitely be there. Like I said earlier, I kind of want to see them bring in the Young Avengers, because I wouldn't want to kill like Scott Lang like right away. I want to leave him around because you need some legacy heroes. You need some heroes that are kind of like be mentors and everything like that.
You got Hawkeye.
You need more than one.
You think
But-
Scott can be like a mentor to these teams? He's still kind of new to the Avengers.
somebody-
Exactly, but to his own daughter though, like yeah.
Somebody I
So-
think could be a mentor to the MCU, I think, and doesn't need another movie, because I don't think they need another movie, is Doctor Strange.
Really?
I think Doctor. Yeah.
I can't.
Doctor Strange. You wanted to see another Doctor Strange standalone.
I can't get through
movie.
another Doctor Strange.
Well, they're
movie.
making it. We already know they are.
I don't think they should. I honestly.
And the thing about it is, though, is that, like, go ahead and I'll say why.
I think that Doctor Strange should be a character that appears in other characters' movies.
That's fine. The problem with this, though, is that I don't see him as a mentor figure. Like, the thing about this, though, like, he's utilized as, like, okay, a bonus, like, figure. It's like, you know, when you're, like...
If he teaches the Scarlet Witch how to use her powers, you're not going to want to see that. It happens in House of M.
Yeah, maybe. Like, see the teach the Scarlet Witch, but again, like, this team be a mentor to like, all the other heroes and whatnot. Going back to Jezzer's point, he's even more new than Scott Lang. He's only in his first movie. He's still trying to figure everything out. But, so, yeah, it's a little bit early on for that one. Now, the thing about it is that, again, the cool thing about Doctor Strange is, because of his magic basis, he can be someone who would jump around to other movies. So, for example, if we get a new X-Men movie, I'd rather see him teach magic than Scarlet Witch, to be honest with you. Because magic is bad A, and her whole going to hell dimensions and everything like that, that would be a good way to kind of bridge those two. So
I'm not so confident that Scarlet Witch makes it out unscathed after Avengers 4. I feel like it's a premature announcement to make a television series on a streaming service for her if she's still alive. Me personally. I mean, it's cool that we're getting a Loki series because Tom Hiddleston can continue the role, but it's a little strange to me. I'm just saying.
So, wait, do you think it's going to be the same Scarlet Witch or a different Scarlet Witch?
I think it's the same, but I don't know. I honestly think that the X-Men, if they're going to factor the X-Men in personally, I'd like to see it done with the Starjammers first, especially now since we're not getting, or since James Gunn's out of Guardians of the Galaxy. However, I think another good way to do it is since we are getting an Eternals movie to somehow tie in mutants to Eternals. It's the only two ways I can really think about it. Jezzer, give me where you think the MCU is going, or where do you want it to go?
If Kevin Feige's going to be taking over the other Fox properties,
Well, he is.
yeah, then more so on adding the X-Men and the Fantastic Four into it. I think having like Doctor Doom in this universe is gonna be great.
Yeah.
I agree. All right, let's move on.
I think the biggest thing that they need to worry about like right now is honestly like how they incorporate the X-Men. Because with the X-Men, you have a lot of potential there, and I think honestly, Marvel and Kevin Feige can do a better job of hitting all those like different like tones that the X-Men need to go with. Like, for example, showing like being an allegory for racism, being an allegory for like homophobia and all these different things. I think Marvel can tell a lot more richer stories, kind of like we just saw them do with Black Panther. I think if they get the X-Men, they can do a bunch of cool storylines that we haven't seen done before on screen. So I'm really looking forward to that. And the cool thing about it is that if we have the X-Men there, like, dude, like, I know they dropped the trailer for like Dark Phoenix. I'm just like, whatever.
We'll get to that in a second.
Yeah, but the cool thing about it is that we have the X-Men there, dude. Age of Apocalypse. We can possibly see Age of Apocalypse.
I don't want to see Age of Apocalypse, though.
Oh, dude, I would love to see Age of Apocalypse. Age of Apocalypse was the dopest act.
So you're going to change the whole Marvel Cinematic Universe for a storyline?
Would you have to?
I mean, I guess that's what they're doing with Infinity War, but like it's a Infinity War again.
It could be like an Elseworlds type deal.
I don't know.
And then, like, you can have some fun with it. And then here's the thing, you could also do like AVX. There's like a lot of
AVX, yes, I agree with.
Yeah, the cool thing about it is that with having the X-Men there, there's so many cool storylines you finally get to do.
But I think that also limits more character development for other lesser known characters that we were planning on. Like, you think if we had the X-Men and Fantastic Four that we would have gotten the Guardians of the Galaxy?
Probably not.
Now you bring up a good point. It would like potentially like do something for lesser known characters, but at the same time though, it would bring some fan favorites to the screen in a good way. Like, be real. How much do you want to see a Jubilee?
No,
a proper Jubilee?
not at all.
Why do you not like Jubilee?
Because she's a lame character.
Why are you hating on Jubilee?
That's like, really? You want to see Jubilee?
Jubilee's dope as hell.
In what universe?
Dude, she was over like she brought so many fans in the X-Men animated series.
No. I think the X-Men brought fans into X-Men
she's in the
animated
first
series.
episode, and she brings like
so
everybody.
was Morph. Are we gonna credit Morph?
People love Morph.
No, I disagree.
Around the 4th of July, I can go to like one of those stores and get those little sparklers.
Oh my gosh, why y'all just hate hard on Jubilee right now?
Jubilee is one of the worst.
Jubilee is like a fan favorite.
Oh yeah.
People love.
Do you want to see regular Jubilee or Vampire Jubilee? Which Jubilee are you more excited for?
I'd rather see Jubilee where she takes.
I'd rather not see Jubilee at all. I'd rather see Thanos snap, but she disappears.
My god! Oh my god!
Let's talk.
Wait. So which X-Men would you rather see? Like, so think about it. So of all the X-Men that we haven't got a chance to see shine right now, who would you like to see on screen? Get some time.
That we haven't seen or make relevant? Gambit, maybe.
All right, I could go with Gambit.
Did you see the rumor about them making a Gambit movie that's going to be a romantic comedy now?
Oh Jesus! What about you, Jess? What X-Men would you like to see? We haven't got a chance to see shine yet.
A better.
Oh, dude, it's Jubilee. How are you hating on this so hard?
I can't wait for
a better
you to watch
Rogue,
Dark
maybe.
Phoenix.
Oh, a better Rogue?
Yeah, especially if they're gonna like do the whole Captain Marvel thing.
Dude, good call. Like the fact that we get Captain Marvel means we get like legit Rogue, which is like
a better.
I
I didn't like the Anna Paquin Rogue.
Nah.
Yeah, me neither. All right, let's let me go to the chat real quick. Then we're gonna move on. Toku Kid says, "I want to see the MCU split into different areas like X-Men, Fantastic Four, Avengers, smaller heroes that sometimes clash. Blackwing says AVX has got to happen. Blackwing, as I disagree and he agrees with Johnny, Jubilee is great, but Blackwing also has questionable judgment. And that's
not.
clear.
Apparently
that's clear
not.
on our Power Ranger
Apparently
shows
not. Apparently not.
that we talk about all the time. And he also says Morph got killed in the first episode.
This one's for and it was crazy. Yes, it was crazy. Dude gets killed
Why
in the
does
first
your Morph
episode,
sound
and
like
they love him.
Goldar?
Everything sounds like Goldar.
Let's move on to our next topic. We're going to talk about Joaquin Phoenix Joker photos. This actually really excites me.
Really?
And I'll tell you why.
Why?
Tell us,
Because
Tell
he
us.
looks a lot better than Jared Leto as the Joker. He looks
Yes.
somebody that I am legit afraid of.
Yes.
Really?
Like,
Let's
yeah.
take a look at this.
You kidding me? I think that's a great look. I think
just
that's a
not
great
big fan
Joker.
of I'm just not a big fan of the blue. That's
I don't
it.
care about the blue.
Yeah.
I mean, I think this is a dude that's gonna listen, if I saw this like joking clown and he turns on a dime and he goes crazy, that's terrifying.
Yeah. That is terrifying.
It's
like
terrifying.
It's as scary as
And his suit almost looks like class. Like, remember the Superpowers action figures when you were a kid? Doesn't that suit remind you of that? The
little
color,
bit,
the
yeah.
color scheme. I like it a lot.
It's got a very Heath Ledger's vibe to it too.
I will go and predict right now. I think that there's going to be a lot of comparisons drawn to this Joker movie and The Dark Knight. Not
look
because of the Joker, because of the tone.
And
Yeah.
look at them in the background. You see like those clown masks in the background?
Yeah.
Those look like the clown masks from the robbery scene. and
So,
everything like
did
that.
you know that a lot of people have compared his face to the clown mask that Heath Ledger wears in the first in the Dark Knight movie?
Really?
The paint of of his paint looks like that mask that Heath Ledger wears in that first
Anticipate
movie.
this now. At LA Comic Con, we're gonna see a bunch of those Jokers.
Of course you
100%.
will. Of course you will.
100%.
100%. I mean, when did you not see? Even when there was shitty Jared Leto Joker, you saw a lot of
Oh
those.
yeah, my God.
I'm hoping this is good. I'm hoping this is
It's
really
gonna
good.
be. It's
I
gonna
think
be
I think this movie has a lot of promise.
Yeah.
Me too, and one of the main reasons I'm hoping it's good is because I talk to fans all the time, and like so a lot of fans are just like really jaded by the DCU right now. Like even
No, you don't say.
no, like it's surprising. I don't know why. Man of Steel was amazing. Anyway, but the thing about this is
Even,
that
yeah, even there he's scary.
yeah, but and again, this movie looks dope. Like we talked about last week, for $50 million, it has a strong indie vibe to it.
It does.
And then Joaquin Phoenix is like you can see he doesn't mail in. Like no matter what he chooses to do, the dude comes with his game.
Well,
Like he looks like he's going to do some good acting.
You guys
here.
all know if Joaquin Phoenix chose this movie, he did it for a reason. Because I don't know how many of you guys know this, but he actually was the original choice to play Doctor Strange and turned it down because he didn't want a long-term commitment. So this tells me one out of two things. This movie's probably not a long-term commitment, but what a great point that Johnny just made, it does have an indie vibe to it. And let's be honest, $50 million nowadays for a movie is not a ton of money, especially when Avengers 3 and 4 combined cost over $1 billion. So this is a fraction of the cost, and you're getting quality actors like Joaquin Phoenix, like Robert De Niro. It's being produced by Martin Scorsese. This has, to me, like, it's insane.
Whoa.
Look at that mask, by the way. A lot of people are drawing similarities to it. This has to be on a trend of like almost kind of like you can make one of these superhero movies on a budget and make it good.
Like in Yu-Gi-Oh, this is like Warner Brothers playing like their Monster Reborn and their Morphing Jar at the same time.
What?
Like
you
Yu-Gi-Oh
said.
reference. But anyway, what I mean about it is though, they're playing all their ace cards right now. So dropping Scorsese here, like they're really betting a lot on this Joker movie.
Yeah.
Like it's like this could be legit. But let me ask you this though, hypothetically. And I'm hoping for this. Let's say this Joker movie is successful.
Yeah.
And they find the formula. Like, do these low-key, like, just budget, good storytelling movies. What's another character that you don't see them do in this fashion?
Honestly, I hope Marvel takes a chance and does it with Moon Knight. I think that would be an interesting choice. Now,
But not a TV show.
not a TV show. Here's the thing, and I almost think this could set the new trend. Because if you think about the Batman movies, every Batman movie, well, not every Batman movie, every big Batman movie that's been recognized cinematically has set the tone for the predecessors that have come after it. No, anyways, it sets the tone for everything that comes after
Yeah.
it, right? So Batman with 89 and Michael Keaton kind of set the tone for what superhero movies could be in that frame
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
that tone. The Dark Knight, Batman Begins set the tone for a realistic world,
for the new.
Oh, yeah.
which kind of
really did,
gave
really
birth
did.
to kind of what we are now. If this movie does well, I think this could set the tone to tell people that just because it's a superhero villain or character doesn't mean you have to make a big budget blockbuster.
Yeah.
You can do it as long as the story's good. You can do anything, and I think this could do that. How about you? Are you looking forward to this?
Yeah, I'm looking forward to it. I think I'm gonna go into the movie not thinking it's a Batman movie, a Batman universe movie, and just
about a serial killer.
Yeah, just about a serial killer.
And to bring it back to you though, like I'm looking forward to it. And like going back to like if they did a movie like another hero like this and this does well, the question. The question is so easy to do like this. And the cool thing about it is, though, you can bring in Renee Montoya, and then it's like he just mentors her, all this stuff is happening, and then maybe he gets a second or third movie, and all of a sudden he dies, and she takes on the mantle.
Yeah.
So it's a cool way to sub like a lot of different stuff.
And
the dope thing, sorry to interrupt.
No, go ahead.
I was going to say the dope thing about this, though, again, like Scorsese, Joaquin Phoenix, $50 million budget, it just says Oscar.
It does.
And so the thing about this is that if you just keep wrapping this up nicely, and they get some awards out of this, it could be super dope.
I think that's the goal.
Here's the interesting thing, though. What if Joaquin Phoenix does get Oscar win? That means that 2 Jokers
Have gotten Oscar
wins. No other superhero, but 2 villains. That's a good kind of interesting.
Yeah, it's kind of hilarious because all the times people are like, I want to play Batman, and now people are like, I want to play Joker.
I want to play Joker, yeah. And a Joker now is one of those coveted iconic roles that, and it's crazy because there's so many different iterations of the Joker that you can go with, and I think for the most part, all the Jokers that we've seen have been very different.
Yeah.
Jack Nicholson and Heath Ledger. Obviously, I don't know what this is, but who knows what this is? Cesar Romero, Mark Hamill. All the Jokers did have a different feel to them, and I think that they're all great performances.
And it really pushes the actor too, like they really put in their best work because you have to be like subtle but be extreme at the same time. Like, and again, it shows the qualities of a great actor. Not for Jared Leto though.
And this can also teach studios that you don't have to make sequels because something's successful.
Yeah.
You just don't have to. If this has a definitive endpoint, or if this even doesn't have a definitive endpoint, you don't have to make a sequel.
So you don't think Joaquin Phoenix would sign on for a sequel?
Regardless if he would or not. I mean, let's be honest. Like me personally, I really love The Quiet Place. But I don't think it needs a sequel.
I don't think it needs a sequel
I think that
either.
it's fine the way it was.
Yeah.
I think it went out like the way it did. But guess what? They're going to make a sequel.
Yeah.
Of course they are. They made money.
Sure.
And then, so let me ask you. So go back to like Joaquin Phoenix.
You know who else would make a good Joker to just cut you off?
Go ahead. Who?
Dwight from The Office.
He was Lex in that last Death of Superman movie. He was
Really?
pretty good.
Yeah.
Are you being serious? Or are you
Yeah,
messing with
I
right
swear,
now?
I think he would be.
Why?
I just do. Creed was a good Joker, and that one scene was
Yeah.
like, why?
Damn it, Creed! I spent all morning on this.
Okay, moving on.
Let's move on. Let's move on to our next big story. Big story. Jezzer and I were on the phone yesterday talking about this. We're like, when is this trailer going to drop? It's in the show. This trailer better come out. And it came out. It came out. We got the Dark Phoenix trailer. This looks like the final chapter to the Bryan Singer era of X-Men. Probably Bryan Singer's career as well. But final chapter of something.
It looks like a Hunger Games poster.
It does look like a Hunger Games poster. Let's talk about this a little bit. Are you guys looking... I got to ask you, well, right away, and in the chat, are you guys looking forward to Dark Phoenix?
No.
I think I was looking forward to it before seeing the trailer, but now since I've seen the trailer, I was like, damn it, they messed up again. They can't... I don't know. They got. It feels like they're just redoing X-Men 3 with the Dark Phoenix origin story again.
It's like,
where
didn't you
it's
learn
like
anything?
it's a suppressed power. It has nothing to do with the cosmic universe.
Mystique.
Yeah,
My head hurts.
yeah, Mystique.
Ah, man, how much... I honestly hate the Mystiques on the X-Men.
Me too.
Yeah.
I
too.
hate it.
I hate the fact she's wearing that uniform.
Also, one
Do you
thing
like
that
the
I've...
new uniforms?
I do, because it's the Grant Morrison uniforms
Yeah.
from New X-Men. I do like the uniforms.
And
though.
there's nothing wrong with the uniforms, but it's like, oh gosh, damn this shit. I'm sorry. Oh my god. Okay, so this looks so bad. This looks terrible.
I know another thing that I hate is that that Beast can change back and forth, and
It's so stupid.
it's like, why? Why are you guys
Why
doing
even? Yeah,
this?
because that's part of Beast's
Why are
thing,
you guys
right?
doing this?
They don't.
It's
I mean,
so stupid.
Simon Kinberg is directing this. He's a first-time director. He's been a producer on most of the X-Men movies. I don't care. And also another thing too is I hope all the reshoots were to get the Skrulls out of the movie. So because when the Skrulls come in Marvel, they're gonna be like, yeah, those are the Skrulls.
Isn't
These
that,
are the
the isn't that the speculation too that Chastain is playing a Skrull?
speculation.
Yeah.
This is terrible. Like the thing about it is that like they're missing all the key points of the Dark Phoenix storyline. Like the Dark Phoenix storyline was like this emotional turmoil because they had a team member who had gone rogue, who had become evil, who was literally destroying like planets and galaxies, all this stuff. And then one of the coolest storylines of that whole thing was like when the X-Men have to go save her, and they literally enter a tournament where they fight the Shi'ar
Oh, that was
and do
great.
all these different
It's not
things.
a tournament, but it was definitely a battle.
Yeah,
Isn't
it was
that-
like from anime, but we call it
Nagami,
tournament.
can
Like
you go
that.
back to the last
but
one?
the thing about it is that they're literally not following the blueprint. Like the blueprint is right there in the comics. The blueprint is even there on the animated series, but they're not following it all. They're going down this path that you
Yeah.
need to go down.
Let me ask
And
you
it
something
just- it
about
just
Dark
doesn't make
Phoenix, Johnny.
sense.
Oh, go ahead. I know you have something to say.
Doesn't that look like the scene from X-Men 2 where like Jean is outside of the Blackwing. That's that same look where he's like, "Hey, get her back in the ship."
No, Blackwing's the person in the chat. You mean the Blackbird.
The Blackbird.
Gotcha.
Blackbird.
So
Sorry,
it does look like
Blackwing.
that scene.
Oh my god!
But I do have some. We got another super chat. Toku says, I hate the sad little version
Yeah,
of Genosha we see.
Dude,
I didn't even
so
know. I didn't
sucks.
even know that was Genosha until I read some articles. Like, that's Genosha. It just looks like another place that Magneto's working at. It doesn't-
Exactly,
it doesn't-
exactly.
It doesn't look like a whole island
And
that
only that-
Magneto runs.
And it's weird, like how would you get Genosha just running like that fast? Like, damn it, really?
Well, another big
like,
problem
with
Asteroid
this too-
Hill,
it's been-
all these things you could have been playing with. This is just
It's been 10
terrible.
years.
Well, we got another
Oh,
super chat. Tom Craven. He says this trailer looked like it's getting pitched as a spin-off. Doesn't feel at all like this is new continuity. I'll go see it. Meh.
Man,
But man.
you're a better man than me. I'm gonna try to download a bootleg.
I'm probably gonna go see it. But
Torrents.
let me. Here's one thing that also doesn't make sense to me. Now we know that Apocalypse took place in the '90s. I'm assuming this is the '90s too.
Probably
Early
maybe
2000s?
oh no,
5 or
Apocalypse
6
was like
years.
the '80s, so this is probably the '90s.
No,
90s?
I thought Apocalypse was the 90s.
Apocalypse was the '80s because remember they went to go see Thriller or something.
Okay,
like that.
okay.
There was some stuff, but like it reminds you of the '80s.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was the '80s.
Yeah,
Okay,
80s.
so maybe this is the '90s, right?
See, that's the
let's do a little math.
Okay.
I'm just really curious
Here
here.
we go.
Magneto was a Holocaust survivor, right?
As a kid.
As a kid. And in the 1960s, it was played by Michael Fassbender. So this is the 1960s Michael Fassbender. 30 years later, he looks exactly the same. Matter of fact, him and McAvoy, besides McAvoy shaving his head, all of them look exactly the same.
Jennifer Lawrence too.
What the hell?
Well, Jennifer Lawrence, she could be shape shifting back. into the
Whatever.
younger version
Let's
of
talk about
herself.
Havoc. How in the blue hell?
First off, Havoc's not supposed to be older than.
Well, in the
Cyclops.
Ultimate Universe, he is.
He's older than Cyclops.
Yes, in the Ultimate Universe, Havoc is older than Cyclops.
Not only that though, talk about Quicksilver. The first time we meet Quicksilver, he's like a teenager who's living with his mom. We see him 10 years later, he's still living with his mom.
That's
some people
that's
just
that's
never
still
move out, man.
that's still a thing.
But I'm just not so sure how. So we have to assume that Magneto, at this point,
He's using the magnetism to keep his.
is that also happening with Xavier?
I don't know how Xavier's doing it.
Dude, see, this is the problem with
get
these
it.
movies, though, because they keep trying, because like, we talked about this, but actually, no, we didn't talk about this. It's like, because if you look at the Captain Marvel movie, the Captain Marvel teaser, like, when she drops on that blockbuster, it's like cool thing, like, oh, this takes place in the 90s. The 90s is not a character in that story. It's literally a setting, and it's like kind of like, again, being used like to help move the plot forward and whatnot.
Yeah.
But when they do these movies, they always want to use the setting as another selling point. It's like, oh, this is going to be set in the 80s, or it's going to be set in the 70s, we're going to include these factors. Like, you don't need to do that, and it's actually holding you back in the long run, as you brought those points right now. Like,
And then another question, because this is still connected to the other X-Men universe. Logan, Patrick Stewart is about 185 years old in Logan, so maybe that does make sense. But he looks so withered, apparently. But he's like 60 years old in this movie. He looks like
he was
it's just
totally
crazy
fine.
to me.
Something happens
I
apparently.
don't know what the fuck they're thinking.
I have no idea.
I don't get it.
So let me ask you guys this question, because I remember we started talking about this like a few months ago, and it was kind of like when Marvel, the Fox deal was going through, they was like, oh, we're not going to put out the movie. What do you think changed their mind?
Money.
Yeah.
You know what changed their mind?
Yeah.
Because honestly, it's probably like, hey, Bryan Singer's not in a good place right now, and we need to release a movie. Let's do something. And I think that movie's coming out, and I think it's going to tank. I really do think it's not going to be good. And this is sad because I'm a big X-Men fan, and I love the costumes that the actual team are wearing.
Yeah.
But it just
Do you think
looks
Sophie
bad.
Turner, she's a good enough actress to
Play Jean Grey?
Dark Phoenix?
No.
No, yeah, I think
No.
Jessica Chastain should be our new
No.
Jean.
No. She's like you're saying, I give her all credit. Like when she plays, nah, I'm gonna be real. Like I watch Game of Thrones, I read the book. She's not a good Sansa either. Like
Yeah.
think about it, so she's just there like talking and whatnot. But think about it, so, like,
She's terrible.
again, the
She's
book
my
Sansa's a
least
way more
favorite in
interesting
Game of
character.
Thrones, yeah.
Yeah. So think about this. So here it's just like it's really weak. Not only that, they got the kid from Ready Player One still hanging around playing Cyclops. Like it's just weak sauce. And think about this. So, again,
Weak sauce.
Did you just say?
I just
It's
dropped weak
just
sauce.
weak sauce.
And then not only that though, but look, it's like it doesn't make any sense. Like why is Beast able to change back and forth?
That's right, yeah,
that
that
defeats
doesn't
the
make
whole
any
purpose of the
sense.
character. He has this whole inner torment where he like looks like an animal. It doesn't get treated fairly, which is why I have like it doesn't make any sense.
It doesn't.
Tom Craven says, at Fox, you don't age. Well, apparently you do if you're in Logan. All right, so let's go to our last segment of the day, or night. Thank you for joining us again. Johnny's Poll List.
Play my theme song.
Hit the graphic. No graphic, Johnny. No
Johnny's
graphic. There it is. There's a graphic.
He's like riding on a little cloud.
All right,
like
Johnny.
Goku.
What do you got for us this week?
Okay, so I checked out a new number one that hit the shelves this week. Warning you right now, spoilers ahead. I picked up Tom King's new Heroes in Crisis.
Ooh, that's something that I'm going to get
boost
as
your
well.
goal.
Yeah, Joe, you mind? There's gonna be some spoilers.
Yeah, go for it.
Okay, so here's the thing. So I picked it up, and then I kind of got spoiled already, like online, like Instagram. There was a lot of anger and stuff like that because people were upset about a couple deaths that happened here. But I can be honest though, as the first issue goes, it's really strong. Like Tom King is like really good at like writing.
Hi, Shadowbird. Sorry, go ahead.
No, you're good. Yo, Shadowbird. And he's writing a nice slow like first issue to kind of keep people's attention. So the whole thing about this, if you don't know, is that Tom King served the military.
Oh, that art is beautiful.
Oh,
man.
it's gorgeous.
Whoa.
And the thing about this also is, you know, Tom King served the military, so he understands what like going through war, going through trauma does to a person. So his whole pitch for the series was the fact that like heroes experience fighting all the time. They're like constantly in battle. They have to have trauma. They have to have all these issues they're dealing with. And so the whole premise of the series is that like the superheroes set up like a sanctuary where people kind of go like when you've been like through so much stuff to kind of like get therapy, get help.
The Hall of Justice.
No, it's like somewhere else. And that's the crazy thing. It looks like the Smallville farm. And so it's out in the middle of nowhere, kind of where you're going to go to help and everything like that. But as this issue starts off, we see Booster Gold in someplace like eating pie.
Ooh.
And then all of a sudden Harley Quinn's at the door and the woman's like, "Wait, is that another hero?" She's like, "No." He's like, "No, that's a villain." And she's like, "Are you guys going to fight?" And he's like, "Yeah, we are." And then it's again a nice slow build. She tries to kill him, starts attacking him, everything like that. And then Superman shows up and he starts investigating. And again, spoilers, he goes to the sanctuary and all of a sudden he starts finding these heroes are dead. And what's cool is there's like these little vignettes where they'll do like a one-on-one interview where like they're talking about like why they came to the center, why they have this trauma, why they need the help. But then all of a sudden Superman starts finding body after body after body of like these dead heroes.
I'm really intrigued by this already.
And then the sad thing about it is though, that then when it gets like towards the end, we discover like there's two major heroes who have died. You guys mind if I say it?
Yeah.
No.
All right, so he kind of drops that like we just
Wait.
I said yeah.
Spoiler alert. You tell me,
Spoiler.
warn the people.
Spoiler alert. And so he gets there, and then like, he kind of chokes up because when he says it, like everyone else, he's like calling by their code name. But when he gets to these two, he says, "It's Wally and we lost Kid Flash and Arsenal." And so on the ground dead are like Kid Flash, Wally West, and Arsenal, Roy Harper. And we see the video of like why Roy Harper came. We don't see a video for like Wally yet. And Roy talks about he came for addiction and stuff like
This
that.
is what Tom King was talking about in our fucking
Wait, is
room.
Tom King the dude that was crying?
What?
Did Tom King just win an award last at Comic-Con?
Yeah.
Did he win an award this
Do you
year?
remember? And he had bodyguards, and then they were like, "Hey, I'm not going to tell you what happens in the Flash, but we'll tell you what happens." Remember, he came in our room. He's like, and then he pretty much told us that
No,
Wally
he did
dies.
he did tell us. Well, I didn't know it was this.
I didn't know it was this either.
Yeah, he was talking. Yeah, okay.
Yeah, and so the thing about it is, though, again, when I talk about the anger is online right now. Like, people are upset the fact that the Flash died. People are upset they lost Wally. People are going crazy. But here's the thing I got to say, though. It's all done on purpose. Like, it's good writing. It's a issue one's going to get your attention, make you want to come back and read more.
No one usually stays dead.
And not only that, though, the cool thing, again, it's the Flash or Roy Harper. They could have come from another dimension.
Yeah.
There's some different possibilities. So, again, it's a great first issue, and I love what he's doing. It's a real nice, slow build, but it has a lot of moments to capture your attention. So, I'm excited. I'm looking forward to the next
Wally
issue.
always dies.
Johnny, quick question: do you have to be an avid DC reader to pick this up?
Do you have to be an avid DC reader to pick this up? No. So here's the thing. You actually do not. I just read this first issue. All the heroes here, you should be able to know if you like watch the anime series or anything like that. You're going to know all these people going in. And so you can pick this up fine.
Nice.
Don't look for your card. We're going to wrap it up right now. Relax about it. So, all right, guys, that's Johnny's pick of the week. Guys, if you like what we do, you should follow us individually at Jezzer Zeus, right?
Yep.
That's on all social media.
All social media.
What kind of
Jezzer
stuff
Zeus.
do you post?
A lot of
You
stupid
lost
stuff.
my interest. Johnny, what about you? What kind of stuff do you
Great
post?
stuff.
I post a
you
couple different
guys.
things. I post pictures of me at conventions. I post things about my books. And I post me showing up on guest podcasts. I was just recently on Ready, Set, Geek. They invited me on the show to come
saw
talk about
that.
comic book publishing.
I gotta download that in a second. Right
For
now.
sure. It actually dropped today. And always you can find me on social media at JohnnyP313 on Instagram, Twitter, and Gumroad. And at Gumroad, you can find my book Broken, which was just on the screen. It's a really cool comic about video games taking place in the future, so go check that out.
By the way, as you were talking about that DC storyline, they were going to kill off Nightwing in Infinite Crisis, and then eventually Jeff Johns didn't end up doing it. So this reminds me of kind of that when you
Yeah.
talk about Wally. And it's always those Teen Titans, those young Teen Titans that were first.
But you know what I think it is, though? It's that emotional reaction. Like, again, when I say the hate was strong, people were really upset. Because, again, we've talked about this before. A lot of me and your favorite characters are like those characters that read during the 90s.
grew up with
the
them.
Wily, Nightwing, Tim Drake, like all those
Kyle
people.
Rayner, yeah.
Exactly.
You can find me at that hashtag Joe on all social media, and you can find Jezzer and I at New York Comic Con. We're planning on doing a meetup with all the East Coast fans. Yeah. So if you're in the East Coast and you want to hang out, Jezzer, what day is that going to be? We don't know yet. What are you going to say?
How about, I don't know.
What's that?
Jezzer!
Well, Jezzer's going to plan the day out. And if you join the THS Hashtaggers Facebook group, we're going to post it there. But we are going to be doing a meetup for all of you East Coast folks, because we met a lot of the folks out here at Power Morphicon and at Comic-Con, and we want to meet all of you East Coasters. So that means
It'll be
Tom,
a pizza shop somewhere in New York.
But a great one. I heard there's a great pizza shop that I've always heard about called Sbarro's. And we might be headed to Sbarro's. So if you want some good pizza, Sbarro's is the place to go.
Harness the water, they bring it all away.
Yep. But that's going to do it for us. And if you want to watch a new show that we have debuting tonight with Rowan McDahlia, tune in to Facebook. It's going to be cross-posted on that Hashtag Show's Facebook page, but also on the new and improved Horror and Beyond page, which we have. So you can check out Horror and Beyond. It's going to be McDahlia and Rowe talking sci-fi and horror, because we're in the season right now, in the fall season, and there's going to be a lot of chatter about that. So if you want to check that out, join them as they break down the best horror and sci-fi show that you're going to get on the internet. And if it's late at night for you, this is the perfect show to watch because it's a horror show. So guys, thank you guys so much for joining us. Please hit that like, share, and subscribe button to stay up to date with everything trending
in geek pop culture. Deuces.
Oh, word